You are tuned in to On Air with Chris Shanafelt. Welcome back On Air with Chris Shanafelt as we continue our Player Spotlight series with the 2020 NFL Draft Class. And I'm now joined by Rex Sunahara, the standout long snapper out of West Virginia University, 2020 NFL Draft prospect. Rex, I appreciate you taking the time this evening. Can you believe your collegiate career is officially in the rearview mirror, and now here you are 2 weeks away from finding out where you'll be playing professionally?
Oh, man. You know, it's hard to believe. You know, I'm actually sitting here in my my room in Cleveland, Ohio, and it's kind of it's real. It's awesome. It's just a real great thing being, thinking that you never think this is going to happen, and now that it is, it's been great. And I love my time at West Virginia, and I love getting to meet everyone that I knew there, and it's just been great. Just had a great college career, and now a great time to hopefully get to play football a little bit longer.
Absolutely. That's obviously the end goal, and here we are now 2 weeks away from you finding out where exactly you'll be landing at. Let's start things off, though, by talking about the draft process itself, Rex. The pandemic caused by the coronavirus outbreak really threw a monkey wrench into a big part of the draft evaluation. Pro days were forced to cancel, as well as official team visits. What have the past few months consisted of for you since your season ended in, I believe, late November, and how have you been trying to make the best of the cards that you, as well as hundreds of other draft prospects, were handed this spring?
Right. So, I had, the season ended. It was great ending on a win, beating TCU, and then, my last collegiate game. That was amazing. And then, right after that, signing with an agent. I signed with a guy named Logan Brown, who I think, he's one of the best in the business. And he has been, we've been talking about things and trying to figure out where it was going to go and where I was going to train. I decided I was just going to train in West Virginia at West Virginia University with my strength staff that, has been training the football team and me for the last 4 years. And, they're amazing. They're one of the best in the country. And I was there for 3 weeks or so before I went out to California to play in the NFLPA game. Had a great week out there and got to learn a lot from Coach Lewis and Coach Shade, who coached the special teams when I was out there, and had a great game out there. Got to meet a bunch of really cool people. Got to interview with a bunch of teams. So that was a really great time. Get to play in the Rose Bowl, one of the iconic places in college football, which has always been a dream of mine to do. And that was awesome. And then getting to go to Hawaii after that for the Hula Bowl, with, first year back, it was great. It was awesome to be out there. My dad's from Hawaii, so I got my whole entire family got to come out to see that, which was, another amazing thing because they never really got to see me play college football. So that was just awesome. And then I got to meet with some teams out there. I got to spend a week in Hawaii, which wasn't too bad. It beats the Cleveland and West Virginia winners. So that was good, too. And then, after that, I went back to West Virginia and was training there for whatever it was, I think 6 or 7 weeks leading up to, just seeing if I was going to get invited to the NFL Combine. Unfortunately, that didn't happen, but, we kept trucking along and we're working out, getting ready for Pro Day. And then, this stuff happens and it stinks, and it's not what any of us had envisioned for, the process or anything, but you roll with the punches that you're given, and I think we've made, me and my team, we've made the most of it, and it's I think we put ourselves in a really, really good position come 2 weeks from now.
It certainly looks that way, Rex, and you mentioned it. You were fortunate enough to receive an invite to the NFL Collegiate Bowl, one of the top college football all-star games in the country. You were also invited to the Hula Bowl. Their first year back, they were back in existence years ago. They decided to bring the game back this year, another college football all-star game played in Hawaii. And as you said, you were able to play in front of just about all of your family, a lot of your friends. Got to think that was probably the best thing you could ask for in terms of ending your collegiate career. What were those experiences like, though? The NFLPA Bowl, the Hula Bowl, being among some of the top draft prospects in the country, being in front of scouts and personnel decision makers from all 32 NFL teams at both of those events?
Oh, it was great. So, the NFLPA game was great because, I always wanted to be in, one of those top three games, whether it was a Senior Bowl, whether it was, the East-West Shrine game, or luckily, I was given the opportunity to go out to California and perform at the NFLPA game, and that was amazing. A great staff with, Coach Marvin Lewis and Coach Shade, who ran the special teams. So that was amazing. I got to, snap to one of the best punters in the game, in Sterling Hofspector, and I got to, our kicker in that game was actually a fellow Big 12 guy, Matt Amendola. So I played against Matt for 3 years at West Virginia, and, he got the better of us 3 years in a row. But, it was still good to go out there and hang out with those guys and really get to know them. And I knew the other long snapper on the other team. And so it was great to be there and hang out with those guys and just really learn about, how to be a professional and how the NFLPA game does it. They have these people that have, the president of the NFLPA of the Players Association, he came in, he talked to us, told us about managing our money, told us about having the right people around you, how to, be a professional. And that was great. And, the game was awesome. We got to, playing in the Rose Bowl under the lights is amazing. And, even some of my friends from West Virginia got to come out to see that game too. And it was amazing. My mom was there, my brother, my sister was there. It was amazing. It was just a really, really great game. And we played that game, waited a day, and then I got on a flight to Honolulu and got there and, did the same thing over again. And it was amazing to be there. Got to stay on Waikiki Beach for a week, which is pretty cool. And that was amazing. Got all my uncles and aunts were there, and my dad being from there, all of my old family friends were there, and it was just an amazing time.
And whether it was throughout your time at West Virginia, Rex, or at the NFLPA Bowl, at the Hula Bowl, who are some of the teams that you've met with? What's some of the feedback been like that you received from teams up to this point? How do you think they're viewing you as a long snapper prospect for the next level?
Well, I got to meet with a bunch of teams. Some, just to name a few, the Dolphins, the Giants, the Jets, the Cardinals, the Falcons, and the Lions. So I got to meet with those teams, and they were just telling me how they like the way that I can snap pretty well, I can run, and the thing for me was just making sure that I get the blocking technique down, because as you guys know, that in the NFL it's not like college where you can just snap the ball and run and you don't have any responsibilities. You got to sit there and you got to block people, really coming to try and hit you. So it's just a matter of having your footwork correct and having, the presence of mind to understand where people are coming from, loopers, different sides of, strong side and weak side, listening to your PP, call out where you're supposed to go. That type of stuff is really, really important at the next level. And I think that that's one thing that I have, that separates me, is that I can do that. I perform really, really well in pressure situations, and I perform well and when, when the lights are on and people are watching, and I think that's something that's really, really going to help out a club. And, it's just one of those things where I'll do whatever it takes to get there and help.
Again, we're chatting with former West Virginia Mountaineers long snapper, 2020 NFL draft prospect, Rex Sunahara. And Rex, how about your journey to West Virginia University? Coming out of high school, I see you were a standout in both football as well as basketball. You initially attended the University of Rhode Island, where you played both sports at the collegiate level. How was your experience there, and what ultimately led you to choosing football and doing away with basketball?
My time at Rhode Island was great. It was, they came in at the last minute, and they offered me as to come in and play football on the half scholarship as the long snapper. And I said, that would be good. I can do that. So I came in and I started right away, and I played my first season. I played 8 games as long snapper there, and then I came back. So I went home for Thanksgiving break, and then I came back to Rhode Island, and our running backs, I was either our running backs coach or our cornerbacks coach, I forget, came up to me and said, "Hey, there's been some injuries on the basketball team, and we wanted to know if you would want to go and play basketball." I was like, hell yeah, I'll go play basketball. That would be amazing. I can go do that. And then, luckily I was I did that, and I got to be on the basketball team for that next year. And, I had talked to them before going to Rhode Island, and they, I was they offered me as a preferred walk-on, and then once I got there, I really didn't hear anything, so I didn't know if they were just letting me go for football or what. And then when I finally heard that, I was going to go be on the team, I was so excited. And, getting to go and play basketball again was amazing, especially at that level, and going to play at some of the some of the best places in college basketball, going to play VCU, going to play Dayton, even the places like St. Bonaventure and Richmond. And, we got to play in the Barclays Center for the A-10 championship. And it was, that was amazing. And, I still am, really close with some of those guys on that team. And, it's been great. And Coach Hurley, he pushed us in ways that I didn't know we could be pushed. And it was, learning from him and how to practice, how to treat your body right. That was something that, really stuck with me for forever.
And now you've been the long snapper for the Mountaineers for the past 3 years, Rex. How do you find yourself at the long snapper position, though? I mean, we all know it's not the sexiest position. It's not the most highly heralded position, Rex, but you're one of the best in the country at that position. What led you to becoming a full-time long snapper? And how about the technique? I mean, how have you become so good at snapping the ball to the holder, whether it's a field goal kick or the punter?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, after that year at Rhode Island, I decided, I think there's going to make a change. So, my dad, he actually is the volleyball coach at West Virginia. I ended up, getting in contact with some of the coaches there. I actually had to go to the walk-on tryout at West Virginia. And, luckily enough, I was good enough to, make it onto the squad and I put my time in and ended up getting to be the starter after that. And that was great. And, one of the things that I really think separates me from other long snappers is I'm not just a long snapper. I view myself as an athlete before that. I think I'm a football player. I'm an athlete. I don't want to just, snap. I want to go and do my responsibility in protection, and then go down there and cause havoc in coverage and make people want to block me so that, one of my gunners can get freed up or one of the guards can get freed up or something like that, to where they're not just leaving me off to the side and saying, oh, we don't have to worry about that guy. I want to be, one of the first ones down there. I want to help out the team in whatever way I can. And doing that, it's been hard because, I never really learned how to long snap until I got to college. And, I luckily got, I teamed up with a guy from, his name's Kyle Stelter. He runs Special Teams U out of Eau Claire, Wisconsin. And he has taught me pretty much, everything that I need to know about long snapping and how to, use more of my body than just my arms and, using different techniques and different drills and stuff like that. And, getting with him and learning about all the different stuff has been, invaluable to me. And I couldn't have done it without him. And it's just been great.
Rex, you mentioned your athleticism and how you don't want to just, paint yourself with a broad brush and just snap the ball and just be the long snapper. You want to help the team in other ways as well. Do you have a secondary position? A lot of times we see a long snapper would be an emergency offensive lineman or a tight end. Would you classify yourself as either one of those? Do you have any experience anywhere else on the field?
Well, yeah. I mean, I played when I was in high school. And even at my first year at Rhode Island, I played defensive back and receiver. And I mean, I returned punts when I was in high school. I was an all-state safety. It was, I can do whatever the team needs me to do. And I would be more than happy. I held too. I mean, even in college, like my first season, snapping for West Virginia, I held some games too. So that was, just whatever the team needs me to do. I'm, more than willing and happy to do whatever they need me to.
And this past season, Rex, you're a finalist for the Patrick Manley Award, given to the top long snapper in the nation. We're based out of Chicago, Rex, so that award holds some weight as Manley had himself a 16-year NFL career with the Chicago Bears, one of the best long snappers of all time. You didn't win the award, but what did it mean to you to just be recognized as one of the best players in the country at your position?
Oh, it was surreal, because, I was voted as a finalist for it at the beginning of the season. I was like, okay, that's cool, but I didn't really know how good I was. I'm still getting there. I'm not there yet. I never realized how good that I was doing at it until, I got into that semifinalist, and it was surreal. It was amazing. It was a great accomplishment for me. I wish I would have won that award, but it's okay. And it was just amazing. It felt good because there was a lot of hard work that I put in over the off season, trying to get faster, trying to learn how to snap the ball more efficiently, and just making sure that I did everything to help the team win. And that's honestly what it all came down to, was just me trying to help the team win. And then, Coach Brown said it all the time. It was when the team does well, the individuals will stand out too. And, it was just one of those things where we were doing well at the beginning of the year, and I think that kind of showed through, and then I was able to do well as well, just helping out, in the team concept of the game. And I think that's what was, the best feeling for me.
And it's not often a long snapper. We see a long snapper get a lot of good publication out there. But for you, Rex, I mean, NFLPA Bowl, the Hula Bowl, finalist for the Pat Manley Award. I mean, it's got to feel pretty surreal, I suppose. Pretty different than what you're used to. Just playing the long snapper position, probably the most forgotten about position in football.
Yeah, I mean, like the old saying is, you never know the long snapper's name until they screw up.
Mm-hmm.
So it's nice to be, noticed when you don't screw up. And I think, it's been fun. It's been great. And it's one of those things where, if we'd be doing this call, even last summer, I didn't know that I'd be in this position. I didn't think so. I hoped it. I worked my butt off to be here. But, I always thought that, I'd play football, my college career would be over, and then, I'd go and try and figure out what I was going to do next. But, this has been a blessing, and just being able to continue to, hopefully play football a little bit longer has just been everything I've ever wanted.
A few more questions for the 2020 NFL Draft prospect. Rex Sunahara, the long snapper out of West Virginia University. And Rex, what would you say is the most memorable moment or game that you've been a part of throughout your collegiate career?
Oh, so probably, my first game at home at Milan Puskar Stadium was really, really cool to me, because it was the first time that I was going to get to, play at home, and we were playing Youngstown State. And the funny story is both of my uncles, they both went to Youngstown State and played there, and they won national championships there. So for me to play against them, against their alma mater for my first game at home was just surreal. And, I had all of my friends from home here, and they all came from their respective colleges to come watch me play. My mom was there, and my grandparents were there. It was the first game my grandparents got to see me play in at West Virginia. That was it was something that, it made me transferring and all the hard work of hitting for the 2 years, redshirting the 1 year, and then sitting behind Nick Meadows, the other long snapper, for the other year. And it made it all worth it, to where, I looked up after, we kicked an extra point. I looked up into the stands, and I saw, my mom, and I saw my best friends from high school. And, I just saw everyone up there just, cheering. And it was a real surreal moment that I'll probably remember for the rest. I will remember for the rest of my life.
It sounds like it doesn't get much better than that, Rex. For those not familiar with your game, you mentioned the athleticism. That's something that you really like to take pride in, that you bring to the long snapper position. How would you describe your game, though, for those not familiar with you or your game, Rex? What is the biggest strength that you bring to the long snapper position?
Like I said before, it's just athleticism. I don't think of myself as a long snapper. I think of myself as a football player. I want to play football. I don't want to, a lot of times, specialists, they're thought of as, they don't want to hit. They don't want to, practice. They're just here, they do their thing and then they're done. I don't want to be known as that. I want to be known as the guy that is always there at the facility, is always learning, always trying to get better, always trying to help the team in whatever way that he can, and a guy who's not afraid to stick his nose in and hit someone and get in there and put his body on the line for the team and put his body on the line for the organization. And that's something that I think puts me ahead, or sets me apart from, all these other guys that, are in this draft class.
And final question, let's say we have all 32 NFL general managers. They're listening to this very interview. Why should they want the long snapper, the athlete out of West Virginia University, Rex Sunahara, part of their team?
Because there's not going to be a guy that works harder in that room. I know what it takes and I respect this game. I respect everything and the people that have come before me and the people that are going to come after me. And I respect everything about this game, and I'm not going to put their team in jeopardy, and I'm going to do what I need to do, and I'm going to do it to the best of my ability day in and day out.
Sounds good. Sounds good, Rex. Really appreciate you taking the time this evening. Congratulations on all the success, whether it be at West Virginia or just the last few months at the NFLPA Bowl, at the Hula Bowl, and now making the most of the opportunities handed your way. So really appreciate you taking the time and really looking forward to seeing where you land as we are officially 2 weeks away from the 2020 NFL Draft.
Yep. Thank you a lot for having me, Christian. I really appreciate it.